Hey everyone, welcome back. And this is my review of Nagi no Asukara, Episode 3, entitled The Tradition of the Sea. Alright, so this episode I felt, as an overall quality, was pretty much on par with the previous episode. But I think I personally liked it a little bit more because they did answer some questions that was in the previous episode that we had from the previous episode. Like, for example, if someone from the sea, if a fish person or a sea person ends up falling in love with and deciding to, marry someone from the surface, why does the sea person get banished? Well, there might be more reasons. This might not be the end of it, but this is a very good reason. It's basically because they explain that babies who are born in the sea are born with something called Eno on their skin, which allows them to breathe underwater, right? Because as you could probably tell, they don't actually have gills on them. You could probably tell that they would have gills, but they don't. That's because sea people have something called Eno on their skin from birth, which allows them to breathe underwater. However, babies that are born from a sea person and a surface person aren't born with Eno, so they won't be able to breathe underwater. Alright, and that's basically why the parent who breaks the rules of the village would be banished, because first off, they broke the rules, and also it'd kind of be a good thing anyways, because their child would not be able to return with them, and it'd be a good idea for them to be able to be with their child. Now, in terms of being actually banished and you can't even visit, I don't really understand that, but I do understand why you wouldn't be able to live there anymore, because you should be with your child who wouldn't be able to go there, See, I'm guessing it's but the thing is, like it just said, I don't really get why they couldn't visit. So I'm guessing there's something more to it, maybe like a hatred that the head of the sea village, or the heads of the sea village, maybe there's like a council or something, has with the surface. And here's another question that kind of brings up though. In episode 1, they actually already said that the surface, that at the beginning all of humanity was underwater, and then there was a group of them that went to the surface and colonized it. So what happened to the Eno that was on their skin? I really want that to be explained, and it's only the 3rd episode, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for the time being. But if it doesn't get explained, there's a plot hole for you. Okay, but like I said, it's only episode 3, so I'll give it of 12 or 13, I think, total. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt for the time being. Alright, and just say, okay, it might explain it. Hopefully it explains that. Because that's a pretty crucial plot point right there that they explained in the first fucking episode. So, yeah. Alright, in addition to that, we have Hikari actually confronting her we have Hikari confronting Akari's boyfriend and basically chastising him for dating Akari, and he says that he was aware about the whole Eno thing and whatnot on their skin, and if that ever did happen, they got married and reproduced, the child would not be able to go back to the village. But what he wasn't aware of, what Akari never told him, was that she would get banished, and he was actually very surprised when he heard that. And of course, Hikari didn't really understand. He still thought this guy was being a jackass, which I don't really blame him for this. I mean, he's just looking out for his sister, and you can definitely see that later on in the episode, which I'll talk about in a little bit here. And actually, that guy's I don't know if we call it his grandfather or not, but he seems like a normal guy at first. But in the next scene, Hikari can actually sense Eno on his a skin, and then he asks him, "Are you a sea person?" or something like that, and then he doesn't answer. He doesn't get a chance to answer. So yeah, like, mind blown right there. I really hope that he's in future episodes, at least to explain this and to basically tell his backstory and whatnot, because he does seem like a really interesting character now, actually. Alright, so yeah, but anyways, later on, when Hikari returns to his home, he confronts Akari, and she and her boyfriend did call her. We don't actually know what how the conversation went down, but she's not she's not really mad that Hikari confronted him, and she said she's willing to break it up with him. Now, I have mixed feelings on this, because in a way I do kind of want her to, in fact I really want her to kind of end up happy in the end with him, and Hikari, you know, and you can tell that Hikari was trying to cover his feelings for his sister at first, because he's chastising him in front of her, but then as soon as she says that she's willing to break it off with him, he completely reverses and is actually against that, because, you know, he wants his sister to be happy, but at the same time he doesn't want her to get banished, you know, because we do see a few flashbacks that they were really close as kids. Actually, when he was a little kid, it would seem like she was quite a few years older than him, so she must be in her mid to late 20s by now. Even though she doesn't really look like it, she must be. I'm guessing, anyways. At the very most, early to mid 20s. Okay. So yes, and you can kind of tell that I'm not gonna say he has a sister complex, because he's clearly in love with Monica. That's just a fucking fact. Okay, but he clearly does care for his sister. You know, he wants, you know, in both ways. He wants her to be happy, and it's clear that she's lying. It's clear that she will be happy with this guy, but that she's only doing this because of the village rules and she was found out. Period. Okay? But he also doesn't want her to leave the village, or to be banished from the village. Now, I don't know, I don't see what would be stopping him from going to visit her whenever he goes to school or whatever. You know, but still, he doesn't want her to be banished, so he's kind of torn here. You can tell that. You can tell that without actually directly saying it, and that's why I like it. It has a lot of these little things here about the characters, and it doesn't directly say it. It kind of implies it, and I'm able to actually tell. Alright, which is really cool. It implies it in a way where you can still tell, which is really cool. So yeah. And at the end of the episode, Hikari does kind of make friends with what was his name? That one kid that he thought Monica was in love with. Kihara. He does kind of make friends with Kihara in the end, which was kind of nice. He doesn't hate his guts anymore. But yeah, and that's pretty much all what happened in this episode. So overall, like I said before, it was pretty much on par with the previous episode. Animation's still amazing. Art still looks great. The music is still incredible. I did like it slightly more personally because it answered some questions, although it did open up the big question about when the sea people went to the surface, what happened to the Eno that was on their skin. You know, I really hope that it answers that in the future, but so yeah, overall, what do I have to say though? It was really good. I can't wait for the next episode. And this, so far, is looking like it could be one of my favorite anime of the season. So yeah, that's a really good sign. So yeah, anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. Peace out to you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.